I call this council meeting to order, Oconee County Council meeting, December 3rd, 2019. It's right at 6 p.m. We'll begin it with public comment session just for housekeeping. I have 4 minutes to talk on the public comment session. I do keep the time up here on my cell phone, and I do hold that up when there's 1 minute remaining so we don't interrupt you, and then I'll flip that over to let you know so you get your full 4 minutes with no interruption. So, Ms. Jean Jennings.
Good evening, County Council. I'm Jean Jennings. This evening, I want to speak on the importance of county employees needing to use professionalism. I have spoken on this before. It's important that Oconee County Administrator, heads of the county's departments, and other county employees always dress, act, and carry themselves in a professional manner. You never know who may be coming through those doors. It may be someone who is considering moving into Oconee County, someone who may have small businesses and considering locating in Oconee County. It may be a representative from a big manufacturing company wanting information. Or it might just be an individual coming into the building to take care of business. If Oconee County employees want to smoke, that is their right. But County Council needs to be sure their smoking area is away from the public's view. Because some people notice these things and they don't want to come through a bill of smoke to get into the building. Thank you.
Mr. Tony Adams.
Can't get used to this new system, but I'm Tony Adams, private citizen, and I want to talk about something I saw in the last council meeting. The way I feel, personal opinion only, is it was not very professional, especially by elected officials. It happened when Ms. Brock was making her presentation on solid waste collection and disposal. I had this for your information. I just drove it home to me very clearly this a few days ago. I was over in Greenville County, south of Ware Place, looking at some property. And I happened to drive by the Greenville landfill operation. Pretty impressive. But getting back to last meeting, you did a good job with that presentation. You and your staff, whoever, is very professional, looked good, very informative. But what I was disappointed at was two council members didn't see fit to respect you enough to pay attention to you. They were pecking on their smartphones. 3 council members were giving you their attention. To me, that's not respecting you. That's not respecting your job. And if they feel like that about the county administrator, how they feel about the common voting, tax-paying residents of Oconee County. So I would suggest that just turn your electronic devices off while you're sitting up there representing us, and give your attention to the people who's speaking, the people that put you up there in the first place. Very disrespectful.
Ms. Ron Melendez.
Hello, and good evening to all of you. First off, I would like to thank each council member, county council members, for your service and your time. My name is Sarai Melendez, and I'm a lifelong Oconee County resident. I'm also a Walhalla native. I'm here because I'm part of a public transportation task force team, so I'm a community advocate and a public transportation advocate as well. We are in a time of rising growth in our community, and with that growth, the need for public transportation is rising as well. I would like to share with you that I would like to see the full support of our Oconee County to embrace the opportunity to have public transportation for our sister cities that surround Oconee County. This is a significant impact to our community members to have public transportation to get from one location to another. I also have here 2 support letters and a survey response that we had over 1,600 community members respond to the survey about public transportation. The support letters come from Rosa Clark, which is our only federal qualified health center here in Oconee County. And the other support letter comes from the Oconee Economic Alliance that was done a year ago. So our advocacy was done over a year ago, and we continue to advocate for public transportation in our area. I will give this to the county administrator so she can have a copy for you guys to have and read over. I also want to remind all of us that public transportation has other benefits such as being economical, eco-friendly, lessen sprawl, and alleviating congestions on the roads. In summation, I do hope that we continue public transportation in general here. Seneca has it as well. Clemson has it, but I think it's time, or the opportunity is here to extend that. So public transportation is very much needed in our area. And I want to leave off with a note here that was very educational for me, and I would like to share. One way to engage in policy practice is through social action, which is an organized approach to make changes in social, political, or economic systems to ensure greater social and economic justice to all well-beings of here in Oconee County. That's all I have. Thank you for your time.
Sharon DeRitter.
Good evening, Council. Sharon DeRitter, resident of Oconee County and on the Public Transportation Task Force. 2 topics I'm going to talk about is the Sewer Authority one. That's your resolution that you're going to be talking about tonight. And I'm sorry to say at 156 pages in your backup documentation, I quit reading at 30 pages. But I just want to know if the county will have any representation on the Sewer Authority Board. Just a question, just keep that in mind. Another one is there's 2 funding agencies that help pay for that pump station and those pipes down to 59. I just want to make sure that if you do this resolution, that those 2 funding agencies know about this and just are kept aware of it so they can put it in their files. Regarding the South Carolina DOT low no-grow grant, the CAT bus grant, that grant was written in 16 for and got denied. It was written again and got approved for the $1.4 million. It was to provide 2 35-foot Proterra electric buses for long extension driving for the reason driving through our county. And the other one was, was to do the 2 municipalities in rural Oconee being Walhalla and Westminster. I would love to hope it includes West Union, and I was remiss when the grant was written that Salem did not get included in that grant. So, I don't know, there's some questions, you don't have to answer it. I don't know if there was a program-specific audit done by DOT on this grant unless the grant has been extended. I don't know how DOT or the federal DOT has been contacted, because if you do not approve the $300,000 for this grant for your cash match, I do not know what the consequences will be for the federal grant. I do not know if the grant will have to be refunded back to them for the $1.4 million. I don't know how City of Seneca will feel about it, but you probably will be part of that in that $1.4 million. The grant, when it was written, had a 210 budget. It was on page 131 of your handouts that showed roughly how much it's going to cost for the bus driver and whatever, and I don't know how much cents per mile that bus cost. But I don't know what the county's future financial commitment will be to that. But on April 6, 2016, Mulder gave a letter of commitment. On June 20th, 2018, Martin at the time gave a letter of commitment. And you approved the last 2 years' county budget to have $300,000 put in the budget line item for this one reason. I don't know what recommendations this county has that can oversee City of Seneca's bus routes. I would hope that somebody could have some for say in what that matter is and where the bus routes and the time goes. And I will tell you that maybe you can also search out cities, businesses, and other schools to have committed to helping support this effort, because Clemson University supports City of Clemson's CAT bus programs. So I feel you could probably do the same with some of our tax dollars. Also, there was 2 public hearings that we asked Keith Moody at CAT Bus to have public hearings regarding this. They did one in Clemson and one in Seneca in January, February this year. We asked specifically to have one in Walhalla and one in Westminster. And I would have loved to see that people show up and have a whole bunch of people giving you comments as to why we need to have public hearings in those cities and get their comments for you guys. Thank you very much for your time.
Mr. Barnett.
I'm Jerry Barnett, lifelong resident of Oconee County, or my folks came here when this was Pickens District, before there was a county. I'm not against public transportation. Too many people in this county are struggling to make ends meet. I am against squandering the people's resources on a big gaudy cat bus that hauls 2 people to Walmart. See it every day. Now, I've monitored this thing. There's such a thing, Mr. Elliott should know a little something about this, a financial wizard, such a thing as a cost-benefit study. You could hire a limousine service far cheaper than these cat buses are running. Now, there is a need at Clemson. They feel a legitimate need at Clemson with the students population. But here in Oconee County, a $800,000 bus riding the roads of this county with 2 people on it don't quite get it. Now, if you do want to start some public transportation, let's use a common sense approach. Let's scale this thing down, something like the Council on Aging does. Look at the service they provide. They haul a lot of people and do it cost effectively. These cat buses are an insult to all of us that pay the bills. Now, if you want to act like kids in a candy store and give our resources to the bureaucrats, we'll remember that. That $300,000 would buy the glass processor that Ms. Brock proposed last week. Keep that in mind. That would fill a need. The cat bus does not fill a need. Thank you.
Terry Close. Ms. Terry, is that C-L-O-S-E?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Thank you, council, for hearing me. I'm Terry Close. I live in Oconee County, in Walhalla. And I am proposing that we have a dog park here in Walhalla for all the dog lovers. I know there is quite a few dog lovers in this county, especially in Walhalla. When you walk up and down Main Street, everybody has a bowl out of water for the dogs. And there's a new business that just opened. It's a coffee shop. It's going to be called Mountain Mocha or something. And I talked to the owner. Very excited. He's very excited to be here. And he wants to make his business a dog-friendly business. I have a dog, and I try to let my dog run or get exercise as much as possible, but there is no safe place to allow your dog to run. So the area in which I would like it to be, and I did a little research, it is owned by the county. I guess it's maintained by the city. It runs in roughly about 2 blocks on the backside of the ambulance, where the ambulance is, and then there's a parking lot there that's hardly ever used, so it would be adequate parking. So there is where it would start, and then it would run to the back end of this building where the ramp, you had built that new ramp, and there's a stop sign there, right there. It's a really nice little area because it's just quiet and it's big enough, and I would suggest like 2 access gates, one there, so if people wanted to use this parking lot, I don't know if that's allowable or not, or the other parking lot. It would just need, as far as financial costs, whatever fencing costs, and benches for seating, and a water spigot. Of course, it gets very hot here in the summer, and people might not always remember to bring their own water, or they might not bring enough water, so if the water department would be allow, the water to be used for the dogs' use. I just think it would be just something really good for the community to come together, and a way for people who have things in common, such as dogs, to have that common ground. And I just think it would be a wonderful thing to accent the town of Walhalla. Thank you.
Thank you. John Buckford.
Good evening, everybody. I'm John Bickford, 119 Vine View Drive, Walhalla. 25 years ago, someone tried to initiate bus service in this county, and he got the Federal Department of Transportation to come down and do a study, feasibility study. And when they had a meeting like this to present their results, hardly anybody showed up, and the measure never passed. That individual is John Palmer. He's a retired Master Sergeant from the Air Force, Vietnam veteran. Some of you might know him. He was a chef on Air Force One. So this has been tried before, and it didn't work. I think since that time, we have grown phenomenally here in this part of the state. I was just watching the evening news, and apparently there's a lot of jobs in this state, a lot of people moving in, and our unemployment rate in this state is only 2.6%, which is 1 full point below the national average. You all see the growth around you as you drive around, new businesses, new homes, new developments, new shopping centers. I guess to get to the point, this is the time to do it. I know the gentleman has some reservations about the cat buses, but I think we have to find some means of transportation for people that can't afford to get around. With the new industrial park here, this area is really going to grow. And there are people that need to get from Seneca up here to the county offices to pay their tax bills, to pay their car tax, to come and do county business here in this particular building. So I want to thank the council for putting this proposal on the agenda, and I strongly support it, and I thank you for your service.
Mr. Matt Durham.
Hi, good evening. I'm Matt Durham. I was coming right here to speak about the cat bus, and I was made aware shortly before arriving that, it may be a done deal because of what was already spoken from past decisions. But I'm going to go ahead and say what I'm going to say because folks are going to keep coming to you wanting more, right? So this is an example of what I've been talking about. It's not wise spending. I mean, a much better choice would be, we mentioned the clinic, right? The health clinic in Walhalla. Something that could actually help people that people could use. And it doesn't take a case study to realize that in Oconee County, the cat bus system's a flop. You look at it, there's 1 or 2 people at most that's mentioned on this thing. Half the time it's empty, making laps. Big bus was great for the progressive agenda, but the bottom line is we just don't have the population density here to justify it or make it feasible. And when it's enough, I thought to myself, and then I heard it tonight, we're going to start sending these big expensive buses out to Salem or Mountain Rest or Long Creek eventually, start picking up somebody or make an empty lap and come back empty-handed. And kind of what Mr. Barnett said, better idea, just budget some money for Uber to take the couple of people that want it out and back from Seneca to Walhalla. Ringing, guys, it's not wise spending. You need to think through your actions. And talking about the clinic, Jordan, you said you didn't think the county should be get involved in health care. We also shouldn't be involved in transportation either. Thank you, guys.
Any other comments? Any written comments can be delivered to Ms. Smith. And we'll go to council member comments. Yes, sir, Mr. McCall.
Okay, on the cat bus, excuse me, we kind of roped ourselves into a corner, can't get out of it. Yeah, I don't like the idea of spending the money, but we got no choice. So, I get a bunch of veterans, retired veterans. They like to drink coffee. They sitting up there by 123. I said, I want to know how many people are on the cat bus. Well, they called me back, come by the shop every now and then. I said, what's the count? He said, none, one, none. Then I got a call one day. Hey, we down here, we got 4 people on the bus right now. So it's nobody riding the thing. It's like you're gonna send a tractor trailer dump to the rock crusher to pick up a wheelbarrow load of gravel. Even Scott Moeller, talked to him week before last. Ride a ship. I said, Scott, there ain't nobody riding them. Yeah, I know there's nobody riding them. So what's the answer? For the cities to buy into the cat bus system, you gotta pay Seneca. You gotta come up, cough up the money. One mayor told me it's $300,000 a year. And it wasn't the Walhalla mayor either. Walhalla was much more expensive. So it sounds like a good idea, but if nobody's using the thing, Seneca, you think it's going back and forth and nobody on it. And if anybody thinks I'm pulling their leg, go down to Hardee's, go down there to Wendy's, sit down there, drink coffee with a bunch of retired veterans, and you'll see the count. It's not dismal, it's horrible. But on the other hand, we done roped ourselves into this agreement for the $300,000 through 2 previous administrators, and there ain't no way of getting out of it. I personally think it ain't a good idea at all by the ridership. You know, it'd be good, yeah, you can have the cat bus going here and there ain't nobody on it. It's easy to see in the darn thing because all you can see through the one window and out the other window, unless they're hiding on the floor. This is bad. This is tax dollars at work, and it's being, it's almost like you can't get out of it. South Carolina Electric Gas Company said, of course, they wanted a charter. And they said that city bus system down there was one of the worst things they ever got into, and they couldn't get out of it. They got into it when they started the trolley, had the trolleys down there. And to this day, they said that's a horrible thing. Thank you.
Any other council member comments? Mr. Ritter, you asked a question about Sewer Authority Board. That has been brought up, this council has brought up about being on the Sewer Authority Board. You have to have flow. Maybe that'll happen soon enough, but it has been requested by this council. And as far as I'm aware, I'll let other council members, but I would like a seat on that board. Or a council member or an administrator would like a seat on that board. So we are do our best to stay informed with all of their decision-making, and we do work. It is seems to be a good team together, but I do feel like I just wanted to address that. So I am in favor of having a board seat on there. So any other council member comments at this time? A moment of silence. Thank you. Mr. Root?
Yes, sir. Pray with me if you'd like to. Well, Dear Father, it is a wonderful day to be alive. Truly appreciative of that, and help us not to take that for granted, because it is amazing that we're alive, and not only that we can move, that we can speak, that we can be creative, that we can work together. These are really things that are astonishing when we take a step back and look at it. And I believe it's only by your coordination of this creation that we can do these things. So I really pray for an extra special touch by you this evening in this meeting, that you give us guidance in the decisions that are made and the information that's provided, that your wisdom would prevail, and that kindness and love would prevail for our neighbors and for this community. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Mr. McCall, will you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we move into business, would the elf like to take his picture now, Ms. Hodge?
Thank you.
We have a special guest visitor tonight.
So if you have not liked or followed the Oconee Economic Alliance on Facebook or LinkedIn, Scout the Elf is helping us out this year with a project.
Scout needs to learn how to sign up for a public comment session before he comes up to the podium.
That elf talks, I'm out.
She doesn't, she didn't realize that. That's perfect. Thank you guys so much.
Well, thank you.
Very charming. Very charming.
I think that's a pretty popular elf there, so appreciate council allowing that. Approval of minutes, November 19, 2019 special meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion. Second.
Any amendments, changes? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? November 19, 2019 regular minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Any changes, amendments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Administrator comments, Ms. Brock?
Good evening, council and members of the public, and my daughter Ada's here, so I have to be good tonight. First note is that you do not have financial reports in your packets for the first meeting of the month. We noticed in assembling the information to get the packets in for the first meeting, sometimes like today when the meeting is on the 3rd, the previous month has not been completed and has not been booked correctly. So on the next month, it appears different in the column before. So we're going to move all of the financial reportings to the second meeting of each month so that the previous month is accurate and that each report reflects the cumulative balance from there. And secondly, we do have our Pine Street security deputy. He has started and has come out with a rushing start. This is Steve Westendorf, and we just want to give a warm welcome to him this evening. Short and sweet. That's all I got. Thank you, sir.
All right. And just so we're clear, the piece of paper that I passed Mr. Kane just now is the proclamation I would like him to read.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Proclamation 2019-14. Proclamation honoring the Seneca High School girls cross-country team for winning the 2019 South Carolina State 3A title. Whereas the Oconee County Council acknowledges that sports and other recreational activities are beneficial for the health, general welfare, and overall sense of community of Oconee County citizens. And whereas the Seneca High School girls cross-country team has realized an exceptional accomplishment in winning the 2019 South Carolina State 3A title. And whereas council wishes to recognize the hard work and dedication displayed by the Seneca High School girls cross-country team for their athletic achievement. Now therefore, we, the Oconee County Council, extend our congratulations to the athletes and coaches of the Seneca High School girls cross-country team for their outstanding performance in the 2019 South Carolina State 3A Championship meet, approved and proclaimed in meeting duly assembled this third day of December 2019. I make a motion, we approve that.
So moved. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. We will be presenting that at the high school. Mr. Andy Bay, the athletic director, will let us know. I think he's going to get with Ms. Smith on that for us to go and present that up there, so. All right. We have no public hearings, no third readings. We do have second reading, ordinance 2019-23. Mr. Root?
Yes, sir, if I may. Within the agreement, which is the attachment to 2019-23, page 7, numbered page 7, section 3.03, you'll note a red line there on the second line. It was stated that the first payment in lieu of taxes that was due on January 15th or by January 15th, 2020 would trigger this rebate, so to speak. Rather, that date should be 2021. So after you make a motion and a second to have second reading, I would ask for amendment to make the change as reflected in the document you all have, as I just outlined.
Do I hear a motion to amend ordinance 2019-20?
You want to bring it up first, yeah?
Sorry. Ordinance 2019-23, ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of an infrastructure tax credit agreement between Oconee County, South Carolina, and Technology Solutions of South Carolina Incorporated and other matters related thereto. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
All right. Do I have a motion to amend as stated by County Attorney David Root?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Any changes, discussion with that? All in favor of the amendment? Aye. Any opposed? Now, all in favor of the amended motion? Correct?
Yeah, you're correct. You can ask for any more discussion.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate your help on that. Ordinance, second reading, ordinance 2019-24, ordinance authorizing the county administrator to enter into an addenda for lease agreements to which the county is a party, providing alternate comprehensive general liability insurance requirement and other matters related thereto. Have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Do a first and final reading following the resolution 2019-21, resolution authorizing the execution and delivery of an intergovernmental agreement between the Oconee Joint Regional Sewer Authority and Oconee County, South Carolina, whereby the county adopts Oconee Joint Regional Sewer Authority's use and regulation and confirms the county's duty to monitor and enforce the same within county's sewer collection systems and other matters related thereto. A motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. McCall.
Mr. Davis, you hit the nail on the head. They said it's based on flow. I see a lot of money flowing from the county, us providing the flow to the sewer authority. We need a seat on that board. Yeah, we're providing plenty of flow. And we need to tell them, it's always, well, we want this, they telling us, the council, we want this and we want that, and you gotta do this and you gotta do that. And then, as very elegantly put by Mr. Davis, we asked for a seat. When me and Mr. Kane met with them, we asked for a seat. Oh, no, you can't have it. It's based on flow. Well, I see a lot of money flowing from us to them. That's flow of taxpayer money. And we got no right, we have to sit here and just take it. I don't know about the rest of you. I got out of boot camp in 1969, and when I got discharged, I got all of discharge. I don't have to take it no more. And we're getting it put to us again. I'm sorry about the tirade, but Mr. Davis hit the nail on the head. You know, representation. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We have discussion regarding action items. Council approved to allocate matching funds not to exceed $300,000 for the city, to the city of Seneca, Oconee County Electric Bus Expansion, grant number SC 2018-18. It's City of Seneca applied for a low, no emission grant program with the DOT. They received $1,450,000 federal funds and a local match of $500,000 for a total project cost of $1,950,000. Oconee County provided a commitment letter of $300,000 toward the matching funds in April 2016. Due to the delays in production, the requirement for allocating funding was not necessary at the time of approval. The matching fund has been included in the approved in the Oconee County fiscal year 2019-2020 budget. This match is for the purchase of two 35-foot Proterra Catalyst buses. Staff's recommendation to approve the allocation of matching funds in the amount not to exceed $300,000. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just jump into this.
Yes.
Just real briefly, because I wanted to touch on something Mr. McCall stated and what Mr. Ritter referenced to. We have letters in 2016 and 2018 where the county, and these were letters directed by county council, states that it will give this funding towards the buses, $300,000 both years, and it was also included in the budget. I know there's opposition to this, but this is a matter that was agreed to previously, so I have a concern naturally that Seneca relied on the promises made in these 2 years and in the budget. So I just be mindful of that. I just wanted to put that out there as y'all deliberate.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr.
I'd like to put something out too. This 300,000, it seemed like we had Christmas in September. It was just this September when the city of Seneca got $4 million from the sewer authority. And you take that little old 300,000 and divide it into 4 million, that's 13 1/3 times that they're getting money plus our 300,000. Since we've done this, I'm not opposed to it, but it looks like to me that we're on the short end of the stick again.
Mr. Davis, I have something to say. So I want to make sure, I know previous councils approved this, but I want to make sure we have controls in place so that the council is always informed ahead of time when a commitment letter is going to go out. And so if we don't, I want this put in place.
We can both speak to that. We would never issue a letter that bound the county, either one of us, without council doing it. These were both
But
on
do we have
council's.
control so that could not happen?
Well, no, if Amanda went crazy, so to speak, and decided she wanted to write a letter, that would be the only thing. She knows, by fear of her job and doing the right thing by the county, that she wouldn't issue a letter that bound the county without authority to do
Okay,
that.
and I also do have a concern also about the utilization and also the coverage. When the county's spending money, it should be for the entire county, not for just selected areas. And I really believe that if any more money comes out of our coffers for this program, there has to be some justification, utilization, and expanded service area.
If I may, sir, it's not below or above or anywhere away from me to request a review of the anticipated routes and for us to be able to make suggestions based on input that the Transportation Committee and our Public Transportation Services, we did an in-house survey years ago too. And then Mr. Ritter is right. Now, I will say too, for the record, if I am not mistaken, the April 16th, 2016 letter of commitment was approved by council and subsequent funding for that because of the issues with the manufacturing of the bus. It was a carryover amount to the next fiscal year, but as to the second one, I did not do as much research on. I went back to the original.
If I could, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Elliott, the biggest safeguard, if anybody within council or within county staff issues a letter that binds the county or attempts to bind the county and they don't have the authority, either by law or by council specifically, then that wouldn't be binding on the county. That's the biggest safeguard. We could say, hey, they didn't have authority to do that. Nobody can sue us. I mean, they can sue us, but they're not going to win if they try to bind us and that person didn't have the authority to do it.
Thank you.
And I would like to speak a little bit on ridership. So I happen to know a lot of people that rely on the CAT bus for day to day, and I was around when I was at Clemson when the CAT bus was created, that actually took you to and from commuter lots, and that was the original idea of the CAT bus. And most of those buses were Old Duke Power buses that they got at that point in time that took us to and from those areas. And then it expanded out toward a lot of the apartment areas and stuff out there. So here is a little bit different. The idea of the CAT bus system was to transport people to and from specific areas. Am I a big fan of a huge, large bus? No, but that's kind of where the federal grants are pushing towards. Now with us, I would be in favor of smaller vehicles that are less intrusive on the road, but that's not what the grants apply for. So honestly, if you dig down into the grant, what we're getting for the amount of money that we're putting out there is a very, very good deal. And I do know that these CAT buses have really changed lives. They've helped people get to and from. They're very ADA friendly for a lot of people. Is there 100 people riding these buses at a time? No. Is there 5 to 10 sometimes? Yes. But also if you get out there in the mornings, people that are actually going to work, and you work with organizations that help these people get back on their feet, you'll see the ridership that really changes lives. And that's what we're after, is trying to create this one grant right here, is really to get people to work. And do people take advantage of it? Yeah. Unfortunately, we spend a lot of money on people that take advantage of the system. But getting people back on their feet, getting people's transportation, is it a perfect solution? No, it's not perfect. Nothing's going to be perfect, but it's a good system. It's a big system. It's a big bus. I agree with that. I wholeheartedly agree with that. But it is a system that does help people get from point A to point B. It is a system that gets people to and from their grocery store or to their doctor, and people walk a mile to the CAT bus to get picked up, and then they walk a mile back home. But it's better than walking 20 miles when they go and take care of themselves at Rosa Clark. I know a lot of people, if you've been over on the Rosa Clark side of things, a lot of people get on and off there getting health care. So, I'm a big proponent of doing everything we can to help people within financial reason. Again, I'm not a big fan of the huge buses, but it's what we have to work with, and so I am in favor of this. And I'm obviously was one that voted on the commitment letter, and so I was committed to it as well. So, and I look forward to it bringing people to and from work. So, any other council comments at this time?
Yes, Mr. Davis is a valid point, but if nobody's riding the thing, these guys are sitting up there, they're retired military, they got nothing to do but sit there and drink coffee and move from one place to another. And they're saying, none, one, and then they'll call me up one day and say there's 4 people on there. That is not, we didn't buy the bus, we can't be blamed for that. But why say, oh, that's all we can buy? That's falls back. And does the city of Seneca they know Scott Moeller, he admitted it's dismal. He told me dismal was his word on the phone. And he said, furthermore, he's going to have to consider charging. Now, if you got dismal ridership, and now you're going to start charging, what we going to do now? Does he have a plan, the city of Seneca, through attrition to get out of it, to scale it down? Or is it just going to be a big burden on the taxpayers of Seneca? If nobody's riding the thing, and I invite anybody, just go there, sit out there and look.
They're not in the same places that I see, because I see them stop all the time.
Well, let's go to Kentucky Fried Chicken, then we'll go down to Wendy's, then we'll move on down to by Walmart, stay down there for a while. Maybe some routes are used, others aren't. But the route It's just a big loop going nowhere. And that's what we get. We're spending money. Yeah, we can't get out of it, but we're spending money and nobody's riding it.
Well, another, we were at a 10 at the top meeting, and if I'm not mistaken, I know Ms. Brock was there with me as well. Greenlink received, was it an $8 million grant from Michelin to, was that 2 or 3 buses that they purchased? I think it was 2 buses.
With a charging station.
And they were electric.
Correct.
That were added into their system. So we're not the only ones being there that are out there doing this system. And if a company like Michelin is willing to invest $8 million into a grant process for that, to me, I don't think we're doing the wrong thing.
Then why aren't the people riding it? It's free, why aren't they riding it? That's the only question I got. Why aren't they riding? If it's free, then why aren't it being utilized? There's some routes, like going to Clemson, maybe it's utilized, but other routes, they're not.
Well, maybe we fix the problem. Everybody's at work.
Ha!
All right. All right.
Yes,
You got me on that one.
This has been talked about for a very long time, and well before I came on council. It is frustrating to see these big buses with 1 or 2 people on there. There's no question about that. You can't controvert the facts. Now, I don't follow the bus around every day. I don't get on the bus and ride it every day to see what that ridership is. So we're talking about some anecdotal data, but it's prevalent enough that we can see it's not utilized as much as we would like it to be. So I do think that the hours that the bus is operating and the routes where it goes need to be in place so that the people who need the rides to get to work, to get to the doctor, to get to the grocery, whatever it may be, to go to deal with something, dealing with the government, that they can get there when it makes sense to do that. That we have to figure this out. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of money. And it is utilized, but it is, I believe, absolutely underutilized by the folks in Oconee County. So while I'm in favor of approving this, I hope that we'll be able to modify the system to improve and increase ridership. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other comments? We do have a motion and a second, correct, Ms. Smith? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No? All right, local aid tax, Oconee County PRT, a portion of local aid tax revenue received by Oconee County are made available from the aid tax grants or ordinance 2011-12 aid tax grants are to be tourism-related grants that meet the ATAX guidelines specified by local and state mandates. Grants are recommended by the PRT Commission based on tourism impact of the project and approved by County Council. All external ATAX grant recipients are required to turn in intermediate reports every 60 days to the progress of the grant and a final report upon completion of the grant. Staff's recommendation that council approve the ATAX recommendation. I have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Is anybody from council, we do have Mr. Shirley here, if anybody would like to ask any questions. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. We do have discussion for planning options. Ms. Brock, would you like to lead that discussion?
I would be happy to, sort of. So as we passed the 123 corridor study plan and implementation options just a month or so ago, we had a joint meeting with the Planning Commission and Council. We had some options on the table for what changes could be made, the low-hanging fruit grasp and manage, and I believe this was Mr. Elliott's way of asking us to speed up that process just a bit. And if there's further discussion from Council, we'd be happy to do that. But from what I understand, we're looking for some options coming from the administrator's office and from the planning office, rather than having it circle around planning commission, back to council, back to planning commission. That we just put the options on the table for planning commission and council to review, because this is our jobs and our fields of expertise, and it would eliminate any further confusion and delays. So I thought that we would put this on the agenda to make sure that that is something that this council wanted us all to do to keep this moving forward, as I did include some implementation processes funding in this year's budget, and we would need to get that approved, the process approved, before we could actually do any expenditures on that. And we're hitting our 6-month mark in the budget soon.
So I make a motion that we instruct the county administrator with the assistance of the planning department staff in regards to the corridor planning options, to refine such options and deliver the same as to the planning commission for deliberation and action.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. We have council committee reports, Planning and Economic Development, Mr. King.
All right, thank you, Mr. Davis. Planning and Economic Development Committee met November 19th, 2019 at 4:00 PM. Let's see here. I don't think I need to read the part about amending the agenda. We had an update regarding code enforcement activities in Oconee County. Mr. Mike Stevens, Code Enforcement Officer, addressed the committee utilizing a PowerPoint presentation and gave a brief presentation to include process flow overview, complaints received and reviewed, to include unsafe structures, exterior property, grading and drainage, exterior property, motor vehicles, and sanitation and partnerships. Then Mr. Chapman addressed the committee regarding the corridor plan and gave a brief update to include signs, designs, and landscaping along certain corridors in the county. He noted the Planning Commission coupled this with the full council's recognition to look at certain safety aspects along certain corridors along Highway 123. He noted the Planning Commission has established setting up a subcommittee and conducting research and background work on the corridors. Then we heard from Mr. Phil Shirley, Parks, Recreation, and Tourism Director, regarding the update from the 10 Top Trails Workshop, which included visioning session for trails in Oconee County, as well as greenways and blueways, the Oconee Trail and connections, as well as potential trail amenities. Next, Ms. Annie Caggiano, Economic Development Director, addressed the committee and introduced herself. She noted she wanted to build upon what Ms. Hartman and Mr. Blackwell have completed over the last few years, and looks forward to working to take Oconee County to the next level. Discussion regarding the Oconee County Local Accommodations Tax Ordinance took place as suggested by our county attorney to make sure that our ordinances track more closely with the South Carolina ATAX statute regulation regarding collection issues. I believe there's a motion, yes, a motion seconded by Mr. Elliott, approved 3 unanimously, to approve, to make clear that if you are using a third-party entity, you will not be able to use this exemption. That there would also be a penalty for violating the county statute or ordinance, and as to who could inspect the records of an entity. The motion directed the county attorney to draft those amendments to the ATAX ordinance as discussed. Finally, there was discussion regarding a moratorium or prohibition on future billboard construction, which included revision to the sign ordinance, what it would be considered the face area of the billboard. The billboard is defined by the location within the ordinance more than its size, and billboards on I-85 to include spacing, proximity, etc., as well as rights of way. Committee took no action on that matter, and the meeting was adjourned. Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Board and commission appointments, we have building and codes and appeals, and I'm going to bring something forward, Mr. Reed, if you'll kind of direct me in this. The at-large seat requires an architect, is what it states in the makeup of that. If we this seat is, in other words, I just can't find anybody that has the ability, that lives in the county, that is an architect that wants to serve. If we decide to change and stay within the parameters of expertise in the building world, would that have to change the makeup of the Building Codes Appeal Board to move that forward, to remove that architect? Because my concern is, because we only are required to have a architect as this at large, does that not put pressure on that person to be the one architect that sits on that board?
I think that's probably a good observation, and it does, to a certain extent. When this board was first constituted or reconstituted, it was the prior building code department director wanted it to be reshaped so you had building professionals in there. So it got allotted with contractors, engineers, architect, and that's just the way it fell out. And it was, I guess, wasn't envisioned how hard it would be to fill. But it would require an amendment. As I recall the ordinance, it wasn't a discretionary. Some of our commissions allow for some discretion. Try to get someone in with this kind of expertise, but if you can't, that's all right. This one was mandatory, as I recall, so we'd have to amend it. I'd be glad to do that, since this has been out there probably 6 months, I guess.
I know it was a struggle through when Ms. Kamick was there too. It's always been the open one. And going back to when it was created, it seems like it's always been the at-large seat. And at-large seats, to me, are usually the easiest ones that we have to fill up here. But this one, because it is mandatory, I found 3, they don't live in the county. And it's mandatory, obviously, that they have to live in the county. So, now, would that be something that we could put on the agenda for the 17th to bring up and discuss from there?
Yeah, I'll just have a reworded ordinance for the 17th for first reading. Y'all can move on it and then discuss and jog around the language, tweak it however you want it, and then we'll go from there.
Is there any discussion allowed at this point? Okay, because I don't know how that,
necessary.
since it's not an agenda item besides it being with this. So.
No, I'm taking direction from the chair for a new agenda item, and so it'll be in front of y'all for action next meeting.
Arts and Historical Commission, District 3 at this time?
Have we received any questionnaire? Okay. I thought I had somebody, but I guess I haven't submitted the questionnaire yet.
And I want to kind of bring that up on Arts and Historical Commission. It seems like the original design of the Arts and Historical Commission was around the museums and about, funding certain things at the museum, or it may be the complete funding, but it seems like the majority of the funding comes through council and from the administrators. I guess it's whatever we see fit or whatever you see fit at that time. We probably really need to look into these. It seems like I haven't visited them since I've been on council, but maybe that's something that we really need to dive into what we're doing and maybe give a little clear direction for some of these commissions.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, it's actually something I jotted a note down for us to begin doing in January, is to have each and every commission of council make a presentation quarterly on what their board or commission is doing, and if they have requests for feedback from council at that time. And we have quite a few boards and commissions that council members do appoint each January and renew seats on boards and commissions, but then we kind of don't see or hear from them. And I feel like in some ways, the commissions are not supported as well by council, and then council doesn't know that they need to support because there's a lack of information and contact there. So with permission, and this would include planning commission as well, and it could be the staff liaison for some of these, because getting all of the boards and commission members, or the chairmans of each one. But I do think it would be a benefit to the public as well. I mean, just where these commissions are, what they've been doing, what their progress has been on their goals or whatever. And then we can look up at the makeup of those. I mean, if that's something we want to do in the beginning of the year when reappointing everyone to commission seats, we can bring what the ordinances or the enabling languages for each of the commissions or boards, review it, and then determine from there how much direction council wants to give. I think an annual update at least, quarterly meetings and an annual update would be adequate. Because most of these meet quarterly, we meet twice a month, but most of the time they meet quarterly or monthly.
Right. All right, we have no unfinished business, no new business. Executive session, we do need, before we go with executive session, we get a lot of chatter out here in the audience, and I know y'all brought up some disrespect up here that you felt like maybe there was something I was doing. I will listen and understand from that as well. But when we get a lot of talk out here, it comes through the microphone system as well. So we have a lot of people that listen, and I hear that a lot, that they're able to hear people talking on there. So, let's also try to be respectful as well. I'll take your comments that I got tonight as well from that. So, do need a motion to go in executive session to discussion regarding an economic development matter, Project Bolt. Do I have a motion to move into executive session?
Make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Need a motion to reconvene?
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No action was taken in executive session. I do need a motion to authorize county administrator to execute letter of the county's commitment to Project Bolt and other matters related thereto.
So
Make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.